if there are no questions over the homework assignment, we're going to finish up what we started on Friday. Now, one of the things I will say is that I did change the name of the YouTube videos, the video that was posted Friday, because I changed it to 2.31a. There was two parts for 2.31, and tomorrow we'll be covering 2.32. So I needed a different way to name it so that we're not having 2.31 and then today's 2.32. And then we're covering tomorrow's lesson is 2.32, so it's not as confusing. Now, what we're looking at here and what we'll be doing is actually writing the equation of the parabola shown. And we can do this by really looking at the information that was given and the equations and how they match up to the general form. So there might not be any left. Yep. Now we look at this here. They gave us a graph of the equation already. They do tell us the vertex, and the vertex is 0, 0. And they also give us the directrix, because they give us that line, that is the equation of the directrix. Now, with this equation of the directrix, would it be x equals or y equals? Because y, it would be y. Because all of these here are the y value of 3. Because this would be y is equal to 3. All the points along this line, y is 3. If it's x equals, it is going straight up and down. Straight up and down is x equals. Horizontal is y equals. So they tell us the directrix is 3 and the vertex is 0, 0. Now it's figuring out which equation, which general equation we would be using. Are we going to use x equals 1 over 4p times y squared, or y equals 1 over 4p times x squared? What do y'all think? Yes. Why would we say y equals? The directrix says y equals 3, yes? And if we look at the two general forms, the directrix for y equals 1 over 4p times x squared, well, the directrix formula is y equals negative p. That is in the general form. The x equals 1 over 4p times x squared's directrix is, it should be x. I wrote y twice. X equals negative p. And this here should be y. So because the directrix in the y equals 1 over 4p times x squared is y equals, we would be using that equation. So looking at this here, what is the only variable that I'm missing? P, because if I have the value of p, I have the equation for the parabola. Well, the directrix is y equals what? Negative p? So we're saying that negative p is equal to 3. What can I do to solve for the value of p? Divide both sides by negative 1, so p is equal to negative 3. Now to finish finding the equation, all we have to do is plug it back in. So what we would have is y equals 1 over 4 times negative 3x squared. Well, 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. So y is equal to negative 1/12 x squared. y is equal to negative 1/12 x squared. And that's it. We have the equation. Any other questions on this here? We're ready for the next one. Okay. Well, on this one here, they already told us the vertex is 0, 0. And they tell us that the directrix is y is equal to negative 2.5. So they already gave us that right out the gate. So which of the two general equations will we be using for this here? Y equals 1 over 4p times x squared. Because again, that general form's equation's directrix is y equals negative p. Y equals, we have that for our directrix, y equals negative 2.5. So this here again tells us that this is our y equals 1 over 4p. Now we know that the directrix, y equals negative p in the general form. Well, here we have negative 2.5. Because they told us y equals negative 2.5 for the directrix. In the general form, it's y equals negative p. So our negative p is equal to negative 2.5, or p is equal to 2.5. P is an equal 2.5. At this point, we have to plug it back in. So we get y is equal to 1 over 4 times 2.5 times x squared. Four times 2.5 is? It would be 10. Now, if we do get a fraction or a decimal in the bottom of the denominator, we do need to simplify it. So I can't leave it as 1 over, if it would have been 10.5, we can't leave it as that. We do need to simplify it. We cannot leave a fraction inside of a fraction or a decimal inside of a fraction. Now, the yellow calculators or the graphing calculators will simplify it out as one fraction. And again, if we do math and then enter fractions, the first one, it'll convert it back to a fraction, or alpha y equals, and the bottom of it will go fraction to decimal or decimal to fraction. But that's it. This is our answer. Any questions on this here? Let's look at this one here, because we've got 3 left. Now looking at this here, it just tells us that the directrix is x equals negative 3. Did it tell us anything about the vertex? Yeah, what is the vertex? 0, 0. They just had it up in the directions. So vertex is 0, 0. The directrix is x equals negative 3. Which one of the two equations would we use? X equals 1 over 4p times y squared. And we know that because the directrix is x equals. Because in the general form for x equals 1 over 4p times y squared, it tells us the directrix is x equals negative p. So this is the form we're going to use because that's the directrix that connects with it. Now it's also telling us that negative p is equal to what? Negative 3. Well, if negative p is equal to negative 3, p is equal to 3. I mean, we could multiply both sides by negative 1, but really, I'm changing the p from negative to positive, so the 3 is going to go from negative to Positive. If I change the sign on one side, I'm changing the sign on the other. Well, 4 times 3 is 12. So the equation is just x equals 1/12 times y squared. That's it. Questions on this here? Any questions on any of this here thus far? Are you ready for the next one? Okay. So this one here, the vertex is still 0, 0. Now the focus is -2, 0. Which equation would we be using? Well, let's look at this here. So vertex is the point 0, 0, yes? Now y equals focus is what? So if we look at y equals, the focus is 0, p, yes? If we look at x equals, its focus is p, 0, yes? So if we go from the vertex to the focus for y equals, well, the x from the vertex to the focus from y equals, highlighter, vertex to focus, does that change? Well, no, that stays the same, doesn't it? And if we go from the y value of the vertex to the y value of the focus, does that change? Well, yes, it becomes p, yes? Well, if I look at the vertex to the focus here, the x values change, don't they? Because it becomes p. But the y values, from here to here, here. But if we notice from this here, from vertex to the x equals equation focus, which variable changes? Is it the x value or the y? The x. So if we look at this one here, the vertex is 0, 0. Is the x value changing from vertex to focus or the y value? The x value, yes? So which one of these two changes for the x value? So the general equation for this here is going to be x equals 1/4p times y squared. So really we're just seeing which point change from the vertex to the focus. Now they told us the focus is p, 0. So p is so we can plug it in. So that would give us -1/8 times y squared, because 4 times -2 would be -8. Questions on this here? Are we ready for the next one? Okay. So when we look at this here, the vertex is still 0, 0. Now, which one's changing from the vertex to the focus, the x or y? Which one of the general equations has a change from vertex to focus in the y spot? Y equals. So our general equation for this here is y equals 1/4p times x squared. Now for the focus, it is 0, p, and p would be 3/2. Plug it in. Y equals 1/4 times 3/2 times x squared. Four times 3/2 is? So 4 divided by 2 is? times 3 is 6. So that there is the equation, y equals 1/6 x squared. So that is all we are covering for today. Now, the only difference from what we're doing today and what we did today and what we're doing tomorrow is that the vertex is not going to be at the point 0, 0. We're actually going to have a vertex at h and k that will come into play. That's going to be the only main difference. So, well, if I can pick the marker up. This here is your assignment. You can go on and use the rest of the class time today to start on this here. And we will cover 2.32 tomorrow.